The difference in returns among portfolios is largely determined by relative exposure to the market, small cap stocks, and value stocks. Exposure to these three systematic risk factors accounts for 96% of the difference in return of a given portfolio. Stocks offer higher expected returns than fixed income due to the higher perceived risk of being in the market. Investors who want to earn above market returns must take higher risks in their portfolio. The crosshair map above illustrates that tilting a portfolio towards small cap and value stocks increases the exposure to risk as well as the expected return. This chart shows rolling 120-month annualized returns. There's 901 periods in total here. The leftmost bars, S&P 500 indexes in blue, 1-month U.S. Treasury bills are in orange, show annualized returns from January 1926 through December 1935, which is 120 months or 10 years. All the way to the rightmost bars, showing the annualized return from the most recent 10-year period, January 1999 through December 2010. The chart shows that for all 10-year periods in the past, the S&P beat T-bills in 748 of the 901 total periods, or 83% of the time. In many of those periods, the S&P return was substantially higher than T-bills. Stocks have generally rewarded investors with higher returns for their higher risk. Investors seeking the safety of T-bills could miss the opportunity to capture the higher returns of stocks. This slide documents that the value effect grows stronger over longer periods of time. The chart calculates the frequency that value stocks have outperformed large cap stocks since July 1926. This performance is calculated according to rolling time periods, from 1 year to 40 years. The bars in each column indicate the percentage of the time that the U.S. Large Value Index has outperformed the S&P 500 index for each rolling time period. For example, between July 1926 and December 2011, there were 1,015 one-year periods examined, 847 15-year periods, and 547 40-year periods. In these holding periods, value outperformed the S&P 500 index 58%, 77%, and 98% of the time, respectively. So if we have a time horizon of 15 years, we have seen that value stocks have outperformed large cap stocks over 3/4 of the time, 77% of the time to be specific. And by extending our investment time horizon out just a bit further to 40 years, we have value stocks outperforming the S&P 98% of the time historically. This illustrates the importance of having a long investment time horizon as well as sticking to a disciplined investment plan. The size effect also proves itself over longer holding periods. The chart applies the same format to illustrate that risk factor compensation is also working in the small cap arena. The bars in each column indicate the percentage of the time the CRSP 610 index, which is the smallest 5 deciles of the U.S. market, outperformed the S&P 500 index for each rolling period. For example, between January 1926 and December 2011, there were 1,021 one-year holding periods, 793 20-year periods, and 553 40-year periods. In these holding periods, small cap outperformed the S&P 500 index 54%, 81%, and 100% of the time, respectively. So, if we have an investment time horizon of 20 years, we can see that 81% of the time, small cap stocks outperform the S&P, and the number grows to 100% as the time horizon eclipses 40 years. We truly have an advantage here.